Israel is going through a moment that even its top leaders did not anticipate. And the most surprising part is that even Benjamin Netanyahu seems to be losing control of the situation. This is not just another crisis. This is a turning point, a breaking moment where political, military, and social balance is all shaking at once. And what is unfolding right now could redefine the entire region. What is suffocating power in Israel right now is not a single crisis. It's the accumulation of multiple crises happening at the same time, feeding into each other. On one side, there is external pressure. Israel is still operating in an extremely unstable security environment, with ongoing tensions around the Gaza Strip and constant vigilance toward regional actors like Hezbollah. Every single day, the risk of escalation is real, and every military move can trigger a chain reaction. But where the situation becomes truly critical is inside the country. Israeli society is deeply fragmented. In recent months, political divisions have intensified to a rarely seen level. Between government supporters and opponents, dialogue is almost completely broken. Protests are no longer occasional. They are frequent, massive, and increasingly radical in tone. There is a growing loss of trust in institutions. A part of the population believes decisions are no longer serving the collective interest, but short-term political strategies. And this creates a vicious cycle. The more internal tensions rise, the harder it becomes for the government to take strong decisions, and the more decisions are delayed, the more criticism intensifies. Even traditional pillars of stability, like the military and security services, are indirectly affected by these divisions. When society fractures, the entire system becomes more fragile. As a result, the government is trapped. On one side, constant security pressure, requiring fast and firm responses. On the other, rising internal pressure, making every decision politically risky. And that's exactly what creates this unsettling feeling today. A system still standing, but under constant strain. What makes the situation even more unstable is the personal position of Benjamin Netanyahu. We are talking about a leader who dominated Israeli politics for years, a seasoned figure known for handling crises. But this time, the context is different. His authority is weakening. And more importantly, it is being challenged from multiple directions. First, political opposition. His governing coalition is seen by part of the population as too divisive, too extreme in some of its directions. As a result, every decision he makes is immediately politicized, criticized, and sometimes rejected before it is even implemented. Then, public opposition. Mass protests have questioned not only his leadership, but also his ability to represent national unity. And in a country like Israel, where cohesion is crucial during crises, this is a major warning sign. But that's not all. He is also dealing with personal and legal pressure that weighs heavily on his image and limits his room for maneuver. Even though he remains in power, this situation weakens his authority and fuels criticism. And this is where the problem becomes strategic. Because today, he is no longer governing in a climate of trust, but in a climate of distrust. Every decision is seen as political maneuvering. Every silence is interpreted as weakness. Every statement is dissected and contested. As a result, his ability to impose a clear direction is eroding. And in such a tense context, with major security stakes and a divided society, the country needs strong, stable, and uncontested leadership. But today, that leadership is fragile. And that is what worries observers the most. Not just the decisions being made, but whether the power itself is still being followed. Because a leader can make difficult decisions. But if support fades, their effectiveness becomes uncertain. And that is where the real risk lies, a government still in place, but increasingly losing control. The real danger right now is not just the crisis itself, it's the fact that it could spiral out of control at any moment, without warning, because we are looking at an extremely unstable configuration, a country under security pressure, a divided society, and contested leadership. And in this kind of situation, events can accelerate very quickly. A single incident can become a trigger. A strike, an attack, a miscalculation, and the escalation mechanism begins. We've seen this before in similar regional contexts. Retaliation logic takes over, actors get progressively involved, And within days, a contained crisis turns into a much wider conflict. Here, several sensitive fronts could ignite at the same time. In the south, around the Gaza Strip. In the north, with the constant threat linked to Hezbollah. If these dynamics unfold simultaneously, Israel could face a much more complex military pressure. But the risk doesn't stop there. Inside the country, political and social tensions could also spiral. When distrust reaches a certain level, it only takes a symbolic event, a controversial decision, a poorly received statement, to reignite tensions and deepen divisions. And this is where internal and external dynamics begin to interact dangerously. A security crisis can deepen political divisions, and political divisions can weaken the security response. It becomes a feedback loop. The more the situation intensifies, the smaller the margin for error becomes. And in this context, even an experienced leader like Benjamin Netanyahou can be overtaken by the speed of events. What analysts fear most today is not a specific scenario. It's the absence of a controlled scenario. Because when multiple crises overlap, control doesn't collapse instantly. It erodes gradually until one decision, or one event, changes everything. And that constant uncertainty is what makes the current situation so dangerous. What is happening in Israel right now goes far beyond a typical crisis. This is a turning point, a moment where political, social, and security tensions converge, creating a situation that even traditional crisis management mechanisms struggle to contain. And at this stage, it's not just about events, it's about decisions, because every choice can have a disproportionate impact. A political decision can calm tensions or amplify them. A military response can deter or escalate. A speech can unite or divide further. And much of this depends on the leadership's ability to regain control. That's where Benjamin Netanyahu becomes central, not just as a head of government, but as a figure capable, or not, of restoring stability in a moment of deep uncertainty. But the real question goes beyond him. Is the Israeli political system still capable of absorbing this level of pressure? Can society rebalance itself without a major rupture? And can institutions still play their stabilizing role? Because historically, these are the moments that redefine a country, not always through sudden collapse, but through a series of decisions and reactions that gradually reshape its trajectory. Israel is exactly at that point, a point where everything can still be contained, but where everything can also shift. And that's why the situation is being so closely watched worldwide. Because what happens here does not concern Israel alone. It could have far-reaching consequences. So the question remains, will this moment lead to stabilization or to a much deeper turning point? The answer is being written right now.